Speak Student.
Hiya, it's your teddy bear here. Yeah, the one you stopped sleeping with because you're so grown up now. Well, you're not fooling anyone. But I know you're here to learn about the man I'm named after, Theodore Roosevelt. Well, Teddy was one of the United States' iconic and most influential presidents, bringing the U.S. fully into the 20th century with his own unique style. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Theodore Roosevelt Jr. was born on October 27, 1858, to Theodore Sr. and Mittie Bollock. Yeah, Mittie. Names were different back then. Well, Mittie was a beautiful Southern belle with delicate health, so it fell to Theodore Sr., or Thee, to raise young Teddy. Thee instilled in Teddy a love of physical activity and a sense of manly duty that would stick with Teddy the rest of his life. All this was a type of belief known as muscular Christianity. It's like going to church, only the priest is screaming at you to get in one more rep. And instead of wine, well, they drink a pre-workout smoothie. Anyway, when Teddy entered Harvard, he didn't exactly fit in with his peers. They drank, gambled, and did normal college-age stuff, while Teddy acted more like a stuffy, middle-aged man. Still, with Thee's backing, Teddy felt confident and stuck with his beliefs. So you can imagine that Thee's death on February 11, 1878 was a hugely traumatic experience for Teddy. He was crushed. He broke up with his girlfriend, Edith Caro, and dropped his moral superiority to join the Harvard social scene. Guess that's just the form his grief was taking. Well, luckily, Teddy met Alice Hathaway Lee, and their courtship and marriage helped pull him out of his slump. Teddy returned to New York and was elected as a state assemblyman. Yep, things were finally looking up. Nothing could go wrong, right? Well, only on February 14th, Valentine's Day, 1883, Teddy's mother passed away. And hours later, his wife Alice would die after giving birth to their daughter. Bad day. Oh, and he was forced to step down as state assemblyman. Thanks, Obama. Roosevelt was destroyed, his life was in shambles, and he had no idea what to do. Finally, at the age of 25, he decided to go west. He would work on a ranch and basically be as tough and manly as possible. It was like group therapy, but with cows. Finally, in 1885, Teddy reconnected with Edith, and the two became engaged, pulling him out of his funk. He returned to New York and began a fight against corruption and big business that would come to define his political career. Teddy wanted to fight for the common man, a stance that wasn't as popular as you might imagine. As New York Police Commissioner, Teddy would take nighttime walks to surprise lazy cops and get their butts in gear. In the process, he encountered some of the brutal poverty. Calls for reform lost him favor in New York. Teddy was given the post of Assistant Secretary of the Navy, where he began calling for the U.S. to build its Navy and assert itself as a world power. But when it became clear that war with Spain was imminent, Teddy made it known that he would be going to Cuba to fight. He was 40 at the time, and, well, that's how you get your face on a mountain, kids. His Rough Riders Cavalry Regiment became the stuff of legend at the Battle of San Juan Heights, even though they were only in combat for 10 days. Also, we're pretty sure he stole the name from DMX. Yeah, mount up. When Teddy returned to New York, he was greeted by cheering crowds and easily won the governorship. The Republican Party was worried about his push for reforms and nominated him for vice president, a position without any real power. Big mistake on their part. Well, in September 1901, President William McKinley was assassinated, and Teddy Roosevelt was sworn in as President of the United States, while the Republican establishment did a collective facepalm. Oh. As president, Teddy continued fighting for the common man, supporting labor rights, breaking up monopolies, and pushing for business regulations. Another important goal for Roosevelt was the preservation of America's natural heritage, and his conservation efforts are arguably the most important of any U.S. president. Well, after leaving office, Teddy headed to Africa for a safari, to let off a little steam probably. When he returned home in 1910, he was shocked at the actions of his successor, William Howard Taft. You go away for one little safari and look what happens. Well, because he was blocked from getting on the Republican ticket for president, Roosevelt started his own party, the Bull Moose Party. Yeah, seriously. We told you he was awesome. Unfortunately, he was unable to win the presidency, losing to Woodrow Wilson, a Democrat. It's worth mentioning that during his campaign, Teddy was shot in the chest, drove to his speaking engagement, and then spoke for over an hour after he'd been shot in the chest. Seriously, we're not kidding. We believe that speaks for itself. Teddy was the man or the bull moose, but they made him tougher back in those days. Roosevelt died in his sleep on January 6, 1919. He's remembered as one of the four most influential and beloved presidents, and his face is included on the Mount Rushmore Monument along with George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and Kanye West. Yeah, we think. Yeah, Kanye, that's right, Kanye. You're in that league.
Yo, it's the president.